It's good to see you. My name's Danny. I'm on staff here, and if you're a new friend, a guest, out-of-town visitor, welcome. If you're still in your pajamas or feeling under the weather online, good to see you as well. I love Christmas. It is always has been. I hope it always will be one of my favorite moments of the year because I am one of those traditionalists. Like, I love the nostalgia of Christmas. I think there are certain things that always need to happen during the Christmas season. And I'm such a traditionalist that in my head, I almost have this scene that always plays out, and it looks a lot like this, where it's quaint. I love the snow. I don't love the impact of the snow, but growing up in Colorado, we always wanted the white Christmas, and Christmas is just one of those times that's just, there's certain things, there's something about it that is absolutely just engaging for me. And what's really unique is there's a build-up to Christmas. We have Christmas Eve, we have Christmas Day, and in this year, we quickly go, hey, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah for our Jewish friends, Feliz Navidad, and Happy New Year, all in about 6 days. It happens really, really, really quick. And we go into this unknown. We go into the unknown of what is next. And there is something to that creates a tension. But in the unknown, there are some moments that we're going to embrace today related to what the unknown of 2025 is. Let's be real. If you wind the clock back 12 months to December 29th, 2023, some of you had no clue what the last 12 months were going to encounter. You're like, yes, love it. I would do 2024 over again in a heartbeat. Some of you are like, can you please just turn the page? Like, I'm done. We're ready for the reset and the redo and the restart. And wherever you're at in this room, you're in one of those tensions. And for some of you kids, you did not know what was going to be unwrapped 4 days ago. Transparently, some of your parents didn't know either, and that's okay. You'll see it on the credit card statement. For those of you that are in college, you did not know, maybe you don't know yet, if you passed that final or not. For some of you, you took the week off. You do not know what Monday tomorrow is going to bring after a week off. There is so much unknown in our lives, and if you are like me, there is something you want to know. You want answers to certain things. I'm a planner to the core of my being. I want to know certain things so I know where my time and energy is going. And in the unknown, when we think about it from a faith engagement, there's a wonder to it, and then there's at times a chaos to it. In our unknown, we as human beings love answers. And the desire to know things drives us to do and act a certain way. And in the unknown, risk is a key part of it. And some of you cringe at that word. So let me engage with you, and you can cringe with me about the time my mother risked my life at 11 years old. It's 1991, and for some of you, I need you to help me not feel as old as I am. So when you see something on the screen, go, oh, I remember that. Please echo that for me, okay? If you're 30 and under, you'll be okay. I'll catch you up on how this goes. But it's not summer. It's November 20. It's the Friday after Thanksgiving of 1991. It's Black Friday shopping. Do you all remember in-person Black Friday shopping? Okay, some of you, thank you. That's what I need right there, okay? So it's the Friday after Thanksgiving, 1991. My mother drops me off in front of this store. How many of you remember this store? You remember the smell, right, of all those toys, the plastic it's all wrapped in, okay? 5:30 in the morning, my mother drops me off. I'm 11 years old in front of this store. I have a hot chocolate. I have a granola bar in my pocket. I have a $50 bill in a sealed envelope zipped inside my jacket. Why? Because she's going to Sears. Great, you're with me. On the other side of it, this is Aurora, Colorado. It was off Abilene Street. I can tell you what the outside cement still looked like to this day. It's 5:30 in the morning. She dropped me off. That's how we rolled in the 90s. You're 11-year-old. You got dropped off. Go do your job, kid. I'm waiting with all these other adults in line at Toys R Us for one thing, because my mother, bless her soul, she thought, like many people, there are certain things that were going to become collector's items. Now, we never knew, right? We don't know what is and isn't, but she wanted me to get this for my sister. It was the 1991 Christmas Barbie. Every year, my sister had to have the holiday edition Barbie, and this was the year that the thing, I don't remember what she was shopping for at Sears, was colliding with the time Toys R Us is going to be open. She dropped me off 5:30 in the morning. It is cold out. I'm 11. I'm ready to do my job. I have one mission today. I'm waiting for the door to open. Some of you remember the rush of the doors opening. Not the click of the button, the rush of the door. The doors open. I do what every quick and swift and agile 11-year-old can do. I bob and weave. I dash and dart to find the palette of 1991 Christmas Barbies. And I see it, and I'm sprinting in all my glory, and I go diving headfirst into this palette because I'm on a mission. I grab that Barbie. Do you remember the plastic those Barbies were wrapped in? Like if it cracked, it severed your thumb. Like I still have a little scar right here from it cracking. And I go to rip, and I'm stalled because I feel my body go this way. Yeah, someone else grabbed the same Barbie as I did. He was very tall. I go to rip again, and the plastic is cracking, and I think I'm going to get rid of it. And nope, he stiff arms me right in the face like any self-respecting adult would do to an 11-year-old. And I do what every self-respecting 11-year-old would do. I kick as hard as I can. He didn't flinch. I'm a little bummed still to this day. He didn't flinch. But I grab another Barbie, and I run like I'm being chased. I wasn't being chased. And I had my mission accomplished. It's now 6:09 a.m. I'm outside of Toys R Us shivering, waiting for my mother to pick me up. It was a good long time later. Fast forward to Christmas morning. I'm so excited. I'm watching my sister. I know what present it's wrapped. I know the exact paper it was wrapped in. I'm watching for her to grab that. She grabs it on that Christmas morning. She goes to unwrap it. She unwraps it, and she peels top left to bottom right. Not to rip the whole thing. She just opens up, sees it, and go, cool. Right? I was so agitated and irritated. I said all the unmagical things that morning. I got grounded for saying those unmagical things that morning. And here's why. I had an expectation. I had an expectation of how that response was going to go for my actions and my results and all the hard work I put in on that fateful Black Friday morning. And in the unknown, when we want things to go a certain way and we're thinking they're going to go a certain way, we often will put an expectation on God and those closest to us, and there's a tension in that. And so the rest of our time, I'm going to invite you to sit in that tension of what does walking into the unknown in 2025 look like? Because walking into the unknown of 2025, there's a searching within us, probably deep within our desires, to just like, I need an answer. I need an inkling. I need an insight. I just want a little bit of exposure to what this could be. And I don't know where you're at. It could be relationally, could be spiritually, could be financially, could be geographically, like do we move or not? There may be a lot of expressions in this room of what the unknown could be. And so in holding that this morning, I want to invite you into thinking about, hey, if we walk into the unknown of 2025 with an opportunity for growth and transformation, are we good with it? Like from a faith level, if we believe that Jesus, who we just celebrated the birth, in a few weeks we're going to celebrate his resurrection. If we believe that Jesus is who he says he is, and that if he does transforming work, that whatever happens, we're going to be okay with. As we sit in that tension, I'm also believing that nobody in this room is anticipating 2025 to be a dumpster fire. I don't believe anybody in this room cannot wait for the chaos of what could be, because there's hope. And in the hope, you want to see something great. Excuse me. So, if you got a Bible, go to Mark chapter 3. It'll be up on the screen. It'll be up on the screen for you to read along, but I'm going to start in verse 1. We're going to go down through verse 6. Again, Jesus entered the synagogue, and a man was there with a withered hand. And they, who's the they? that they are the religious leaders around him, Sadducees, Pharisees, religious people in the community. And they watched Jesus to see whether he would heal him on the Sabbath so they might accuse him. And he said to the man with the withered hand, "Come here." And he said to them, "Is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do harm, to save life or to kill?" But they were silent. And he looked around at them with anger, grieved at their hardness of heart, and said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." He stretched it out, and his hand was restored. Let's camp on a couple things. Jesus, in the middle of his ministry, shows up in the synagogue. Now, what is the synagogue? The synagogue is a physical place that represents for the Jewish community a place of dwelling for God. That they would meet with God weekly to be reminded of all that God was up to. They would sing psalms and hymns. They would actually read from the scriptures. They would remind them of the saving action of God with the people of Israel. The synagogue was really specific. The synagogue is a reflection of a physical dwelling that if you go back to Exodus and the children of Israel are saved from Egypt, there is a tent that is erected in the desert. This tent was a physical opportunity for people of Israel to say, our God meets us here. The synagogue is a sacred place. It is a cherished place. It was a place of political, religious, moral care. It was a place where Jewish people knew that they were safe to be themselves. Jesus shows up here. He shows up here like any respecting Jew would, because this is where we meet as a community. And in where we meet as a community, this is where we seek to see things changed. The synagogue is a representation of God on earth. You have Jesus, being God himself, showing up on the Sabbath, because that is when you met at the synagogue. Sabbath is sundown Friday till sundown Saturday. Sabbath is a moment in the week where the people would pause all the work, all they were doing, to be refreshed. Sabbath was a command out of Exodus that you as a human being are not just made for enslaving yourself to the work of the world, but you actually are able to rest. You're able to rest and enjoy deep relationships with your Creator and with each other. You're able to rest and enjoy the beauty of creation around you. And in resting, you also knew that the work you were about to do the rest of the week was actually a sacred moment as the Sabbath you were going to take. Sabbath is a moment of pause. Sabbath we see reflected in the creation narrative because God chose to rest to enjoy his creation. Sabbath is a place where we choose to pause all that would bother us, worry us, and say, God, I want to meet with you. Now, in our Western society, we don't Sabbath very well. We love our full schedules. We love our busyness. In fact, if you were to tell someone like, oh, I can't do the day, I'm on a Sabbath, they would go, well, the what? Yeah, you slept last night. Now let's go get some stuff done. And in the beauty of what Jesus is doing is he's reminding this audience that in a sacred place and on a sacred day, God is going to show up in ways that you cannot expect. Because in the moment of the religious leaders being frustrated and watching for him, is he going to heal on Sabbath or not? They had turned something sacred into something that just had a lot of moral regulation around it. You see, over the years, the community decided that they would layer all these rules and additives to the Sabbath. For example, if you were to make bread on the Sabbath, you were not allowed to. There's no way to feed yourself. If you were to actually do any sort of labor that could be defined as work, you were out of code. And I love the fact that Jesus pokes at this. I love the fact that Jesus pokes at what is your motive here. If you go to Mark 3, verse 2. And they watched Jesus to see whether he would heal him on the Sabbath so they might accuse him. In Jesus' ministry, this is a moment where there's already agitation about the religious leaders going, who is this Jesus that shows up on scene and starts changing people's lives? And Jesus, in verse 3, invites the withered man, verse 4, is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do harm, to save life, or to kill. Jesus is probing at the heart of the matter. Jesus is probing at their heart and their mindset of like, who would willingly say, oh yeah, it's better for someone to die than to help them on the Sabbath? It's better for that person to not have a life-changing moment with the living God and just keep suffering, because if you were a cripple, an invalid, in that environment, you were already shamed. You did not have the same ability to earn wages as other people did. You were not as welcomed in certain environments as others. And here Jesus wants to invite to say, hey, what if we do a healing? What I love about the unknown in our relationship with Christ is we don't know when God's going to show up. We don't know how, we don't know when, we don't know where, but when it happens, are we willing to let our own world, our own way of being, be messed with? Are we okay if we go, hey, that's not supposed to work that way, that wasn't in the plan, and yet it's still honoring to the kingdom of Jesus? Are we okay with that? In the unknown, as we invite what could be in 2025, I wonder what for you is the spot that you really want Jesus to change and transform, but you really don't want him messing with everything else. I wonder if messing with everything else is actually more important to Jesus and more important to your story with Jesus than anything else. See, when Jesus probes at the matter, he says he was grieved at their harden of heart. He was angry. Very rarely do we see that in Scripture. Jesus being angry? Like, dear sweet baby little Jesus? Angry? Come on. But he's angry at their heart. He's grieved at this. It's their blindness. Hey, there's a way things are going to operate, and this is how they're going to operate because this is the way they've always operated. And Jesus goes, yeah, but as the living God, I'm going to operate how I'm going to operate, and you all can shift with it. He's grieved at their blindness. He's grieved at the fact that they see an opportunity for healing and health and redemption, and they're more concerned about the rules and the way it's supposed to go. See, I make up right now, if you're like me, you have things in your mind of how 2025 is supposed to go. Conversations are supposed to be had. The way things need to play out for your benefit or those closest to you. And what's really interesting about tomorrow is we have zero clue how it's going to work. We can do all the planning and preparation we want, but in the end of the day, we have zero clue how it's going to play out. And I contend that in living life in faith with Jesus, there's a lot of risk that we got to be willing to do. So I need an 11-year-old to help me out right now. I don't care who you are or where you're at. If you're an 11-year-old and you want to come help me out, come on up. Yes, come on. Come on up. What's your name? Natanya, come on over. Okay, there's two things I need you to help with. Can you confirm that that's a piece of wood? Okay, you sure? You want to test it? That's wood, right? Okay, great. Can you just walk on that? All right, fantastic, Natanya, appreciate that. Easy or hard? Easy, great, okay. So what if I told you you're going to walk on this and we're going to pass this right down this center aisle all the way back to the cameras and you're going to keep your balance? Are you good with that? You thought about it for a second. Okay, why not?
Because it'll be moving.
It'll be moving, that's one. Do you trust those people to catch you? It's an okay to answer to say no, you don't trust them. Right? So let's test this. Are you okay just walking on that? No? You sure? Yeah? Okay, awesome. Fantastic. All right. Was that more challenging or less challenging than just, why? Why more challenging?
It was higher up.
Higher up. But it was stable, right? Okay. Would you do it again blindfolded? No? Okay. What if I hold your hand and guide you?
Okay.
Yeah? Okay, I'll let you put that on. Okay. Reveal your eyes just for a second. Come put your first foot up. Okay, now take my hand. Now you can cover your eyes. All right, you're up. There you go. Go to your left just a little bit. Go to your left. There you go, right there. Okay, you're halfway. Okay, pause. Take off the blindfold. I'll let you step down. Okay. How was it, even though you're blindfolded, how was it holding my hand?
A little bit good.
A little bit good, okay? Still a little hesitant though, right? Okay, Natani, thanks for helping out. I appreciate it. Here's what I know. Life's a lot easier when we got people around us. Even in the unknown, even in the awkward parts, even in the shaky moments, when we do life together, there's a space where people can hold us through the highs and the lows, and we can hold others through the highs and lows. And as simple of an illustration it is, there is a blind risk in faith in Christ. There is a blind risk. We do not get to tell the God of the universe how we want life to go. But we invite the God of the universe, who gives us desires and dreams and wishes, to move through us in phenomenal ways. If you're around Encounter, if you're new to Encounter, if you're in a space today where you're like, look, I don't even believe the whole Jesus thing, totally fine. But I want to invite you on a couple questions that may be resourceful to you as you think about what 2025 could be. And the first one is this. It's trust. That we trust that our unknown will not be a place of abandonment. It's a trust that our unknown will not be a place of abandonment. We do not know what tomorrow, what 12 months from now is going to look like. But I don't believe that it'll be a place of abandonment for us in community with connected to others. I even believe the hardest things that we've ever gone through have a divine purpose that we may not have an answer to, but I also believe that there is something about it in God's story that He's playing out, which is greater than ours, that allows us to sit back and go, great, Jesus, how are you going to move through me in this? And when we're in community, when we're connected to someone that cares about us as we truly are, we're not abandoned. The second thing is this, and it's risk. Risk that will reveal our withered spaces to invite growth and transformation. What is the withered space for you? See, Jesus invites a man with the withered hand to reveal his hand. I've often thought, why didn't he reveal the good hand first? We're okay showing our strengths. But Jesus invited the man with the withered hand to reveal his withered hand. The place of shame, the place of ridicule, the place where maybe when he was 11 and that hand was withered, that he got teased by all of those around him. The place that was mocked because in that culture, if you were born with a invalidness, there was a theory, a belief that your parents caused it because of a sin. See, Jesus invites that man to reveal that withered hand for healing, for transformation. And actually, as you look through the miracles of Jesus, so often Jesus meets people in the weakest spots that they've got. It's the risk that when we reveal our withered spaces, there will be growth and transformation. Now, if you call Encounter home, or you'd like to call Encounter home, I want to highlight just a few things that are happening in 2025. You heard a little bit from Lindsay. I want to share a little bit more. First and foremost, if you're a young adult in this space right now, 18 to 29, we'd love to host you on Tuesday the 7th for a taco night. Now, you may be a young adult like I was a young adult. I had my first kid at 22. You're welcome and your kids are welcome. We're creating a space for young adults where you can be seen and valued in community. The next one's on Tuesday the 7th. We had one in December. We're doing another one. We'd love to have you join us. Here's the other piece. If you're not connected to a small group or you've been a part of a small group and you'd love to check out something else, we've got 7 new groups launching January 1st. Technically, probably January 5th is when they'll be public. But I want to give you some insight as to what some of these groups are. First, if you've ever curious, like, hey, how can I trust the Bible? We've got a fantastic Bible teacher, Yvonne Pren. She's going to be leading that class. You would be blessed to go and be a part of that. If you're a young married, if you're a young married, young family, February, that group starts up. If you're in our season of life, going, hey, we're empty nesters. How do we still do a life as parents, but yet our kids have launched? We've got a small group specifically for you. For some of you, you may be going, hey, I'd actually be really curious about some spiritual disciplines and what does it look like to grow in my faith? Monday nights, starting in January, we've got a small group that Jane Parsons is going to lead. On top of women's, on top of men. Speaking of men here in Encounter, save your first Tuesday of February, the evening for us. We've got something for you that you're not going to want to miss. See, at Encounter, we want community to be really strong and intentional, and we'd love to have you part of it. Students, those of you that are in this space right now, love what's happening around Encounter Youth. Absolutely love it. It's always fun to hear the updates from Austin, and even as I eavesdrop in on Wednesday nights, here's what's really fun. You've got a fantastic community. As that community continues to grow, what are the places you can serve to impact your greater Ventura County community? For those of you that are around Encounter and going, man, I'd love a place to serve. I'd love to be connected. I'm going to give you the 2 easiest spots that we have a high need for volunteers right now. Children's ministry and hospitality. If you're like, hey, you know what? I've got a Sunday a month, 2 Sundays a month. I've got some time during the week. I'd love to volunteer. Connect with Lindsay or I. We'd love to be able to connect you with what's next. When we think about who we are as a community, we want to make sure that you have the resources to have a thrilling life, to be able to accomplish things you do. And parents, I'm in this with you still. There are some really unique seasons called parenting. That's why on January 29th, we're doing a parenting workshop. It'll be fun, it'll be lighthearted, but really intentional about what do you want your parenting season the next 11 months, because we'll be a month into the new year, to look like. As we think about these connection spaces, as we think about what's here, our heart as staff is for you to know that you have got someone in your corner that believes the most in you. And as you approach your life, here's what I believe. I believe some time during the morning, you already had a thought about something you'd love to see happen in 2025. For you, for your loved ones, for your family, for your work. Something pinged in your head, not because of me, but because you've already been thinking on it and he just resumed thinking about it this morning to say, hey, I'd love to see growth and change there. I'd love to see Jesus show up in a way that I didn't anticipate. I'd love to reveal that space and go, God, I'm okay with growth and transformation here. So the team's going to come out and lead in a final song. So I want to invite you to do something. I'm going to invite you to stand. Go ahead right now. And I would love for you to, whatever that thing is that you've thought about, I'd love for you to hold on to it. Even in a physical representation, to hold out your hand in a fist and just hold it. I don't know if it's financial, relational, spiritual, school, work, you name it, but I'd love for you just to hold it. And as you hold it and you think about what that is, I'm going to pray over us. Jesus, the thing that was so dear to us right now that we just is a physical representation of a mental thought that we're holding, God, we're saying you can mess with it. We're inviting you to growth and transformation. We're saying that this thing is important to us, and we'd love for you to reveal how it's important to you being our God and Savior. Jesus, what is it that you want to do in us and through us in this thing? So Jesus, as we go from here, here's what we believe. that you, being God himself, are going to do something. And we look forward to seeing what that is today and over the next year. Amen.